judging others. In a small town, everyone knew everyone. It was the kind of place where news travelled fast and opinions formed even faster. In this town lived a girl named Sarah. She was quiet and kept to herself. She always wore old clothes and rarely spoke to anyone. People often whispered about her. "Why does she dress like that?" one woman said. "She must be strange," another replied. They never asked Sarah about her life. They only made guesses based on what they saw. One day, a new family moved into the town. They had a boy named James. James noticed Sarah walking alone. He smiled at her, but she quickly looked away. He wondered why she seemed so distant. James heard the rumours about Sarah. "Stay away from her," someone warned. But James didn't like judging people without knowing them. He decided to learn the truth for himself. That day, James followed Sarah from a distance. He wanted to see where she went after school. What he discovered surprised him. Sarah walked to a small house at the edge of town. It looked old and broken. James saw her go inside and decided to wait nearby. After a few minutes, he heard voices from inside. They sounded soft and kind. Curious, James moved closer. Through the window, he saw Sarah sitting with two younger children. They were laughing and eating a simple meal. James realized they must be her siblings. Sarah's smile was different now, full of love and care. Then an older woman walked into the room. She looked tired but gentle. James guessed this was Sarah's mother. Sarah helped her sit down and handed her a glass of water. James watched as Sarah cleaned the dishes and took care of the family. James felt ashamed. He had believed the rumours without knowing Sarah's real story. She wasn't strange or distant. She was brave and kind, working hard to support her family. He decided it was time to change how people saw Sarah. He couldn't let the town judge her unfairly anymore. The next day, James went to school with a plan. During lunch, he sat with his friends and spoke up. "Do you know why Sarah keeps to herself?" he asked. His friends looked curious but said nothing. James continued, "She's taking care of her family. Her mom is sick, and she has two little siblings. She works after school to buy food and help at home." The group was silent. They hadn't known any of this. One of the boys said, "But what about her strange clothes?" James replied, "She can't buy new ones because she spends her money on her family. Wouldn't you do the same if you were in her place?" The friends nodded slowly, understanding for the first time. They realized their jokes and whispers had been unfair. Sarah wasn't strange, she was strong. They felt guilty for judging her without knowing her story. James decided to do more. He wanted everyone in the school to know the truth about Sarah. She deserved respect, not rumours. That afternoon, James spoke to their teacher, Mrs. Wilson. He told her about Sarah and her struggles. Mrs. Wilson listened carefully and agreed to help. Together, they planned a small talk for the class. The next day, Mrs. Wilson asked everyone to sit in a circle. "Today we'll talk about kindness," she began. She explained how everyone has challenges that others may not see. Judging someone without knowing their story is unfair, she said. Then she invited Sarah to share. Sarah hesitated, but finally stood up. Her voice was soft, but her words were strong. She spoke about her family and her responsibilities. The class listened quietly, some looking ashamed. When Sarah finished, the room was silent. Then one girl said, "I'm sorry, Sarah, I didn't know." Others followed, apologizing and promising to be kinder. Sarah smiled for the first time in weeks. James felt proud. He had done the right thing. And now Sarah wasn't alone. She had allies and friends who understood her. After that day, the class became a kinder place. Sarah started sitting with others during lunch and talking more in class. She even joined the school art club, where her creativity shined. James noticed how much Sarah had changed. She seemed happier and more confident. The others treated her with respect now, and she no longer felt invisible. One afternoon, Sarah approached James. "Thank you," she said. "You believed in me when no one else did." James shrugged. "I just thought you deserved a chance," he replied. Sarah nodded. "You helped me see that I don't have to hide, I can be myself." James smiled, realizing how much a little kindness could do. But James also learned something important. Judging others doesn't help anyone. Everyone has a story, and sometimes all they need is someone to listen and understand. The class never forgot the lesson they learned. They realized that judging someone without knowing their story was unfair. Sarah's journey inspired others to be more open and kind. James often thought about how close they had come to missing out on knowing someone as amazing as Sarah. He started standing up for others and encouraging his classmates to do the same. As time passed, the class grew closer. They supported each other through struggles and celebrated each other's victories. The walls of judgment and misunderstanding slowly disappeared. Sarah became an artist known for her powerful paintings. Each piece told a story of hope, kindness, and the importance of seeing people for who they truly are. And James? He carried the lesson of kindness with him, spreading it wherever he went. Because sometimes a small act of compassion can change everything.